Here we are with Mr. Lamb again. This is page 3 of the Unit 3 test review. If you remember from page 2, we were talking about these figures are similar, so that still applies here with question number 9. And these are actually, because it connects a vertex to the midpoint of an opposite side, we call these medians. Called median. You remember that from class? We're talking about that grassy area between the two sides of a highway is also called a median. And we know that the scale factor is going to be the same as for the medians as well. So I have my scale factor. I'm just going to take this left side over here from that vertex. That scale factor, that is 10. Over top of the same location on the other side, 3. So the scale factor is a 10:3 ratio. All right, so if I know that I could have used 15 and 4.5, I was just really trying to avoid decimals. So here we go. My ratio, 10:3, is equal to the ratio of the medians as well. So the median from the first triangle is 12. Right? And the median from the second one is x. Okay. So let's cross multiply. 10 times x is 10x. 3 times 12 is 36. Divide both sides by 10, and x is going to be 3.6 units long. It is 3.6 units long. Okay, number 10. This is the postulate, the corollary that talks about if you have several parallel lines cut by two transversals, then the pieces will be cut proportionally. Okay, so this question mark says find the missing length. I'm going to call it x instead of question mark. I'm going to name that x. And the other part, since I know this whole segment here is 77, if I take x away from the whole part, then this part here will be 77 minus whatever x is. So now I have my two parts. So my ratio, and I'll just do my left side, one on top of the other. So x is over 77 minus x, and the right side is 30 over top of 25. All right, cross multiply. X times 25 is 25x. And that is equal to 30 times 77 is 2310 minus 30x. Add 30x to both sides. So 55x is equal to 2310. And x, our missing angle. If I divide 2310 by 55, I get x to be 42. So that is 42. And then I can find that other piece if I needed to by doing 77 minus 42. Okay, number 11 says DE is a mid-segment. You do need to know what a mid-segment is. First of all, mid-segment is a segment that connects midpoints. So that means D is the midpoint of AB. So this piece here and this piece here must be the same. And E is the midpoint of AC. So this piece over here has to be the same as this piece. Well, that's going to help me find Y real easy. All right, if I look at segment AB, AD is 2y minus 3. And DB is 7. And since D is the midpoint, those two pieces have to be the same length. So I'll add 3 to both sides. And divide by 2, and I get y to be 5. Now to find x, you do need to know that if you have a mid-segment, it is always true that the mid-segment is half the length of the side that it is parallel to. So DE is parallel to BC. And the length of the mid-segment, 3, is equal to half of the long side. So half of x x plus 1. And remember, I told you could remember this another way. If you don't want to remember that the mid-segment is half of the long side, you could remember it as the long side is twice as big as the mid-segment. So what would that look like? Well, the long side, x plus 1, is equal to twice the length of the mid-segment, where the mid-segment's 3. And now this one is a much easier looking problem to solve. X plus 1 has to equal 6, subtract 1, and x is equal to 5. I do want to make sure that I am very, very clear about this. The fact that both answers are 5 is nothing but a coincidence. Do not think that that is always going to be the case. That is 100% coincidental. So as you are preparing, do not think, oh, well, these kind of problems, if I find one, they're both the same, because they probably won't be. This one, they just happen to work out that way. All right, number 12. Number 12 says you want to determine the height of your school building. So here we go. This is the school building. I'll call it B. You don't know how tall it is, but you know that the building casts a shadow. And it's 6 feet. So there's my building and its shadow. At the exact same time, another shadow is cast. And it says a 1.25 foot shadow is cast from you. So you are standing up and you are 5 feet tall. You're awful short, I guess. So how tall is the school building? We do know that anytime we're doing this indirect measurement, because we're measuring at the exact same time, these triangles are similar. So let's set up our proportion. So my left triangle first, I'll do its height, then its shadow. So height is B, shadow is 6. Smaller triangle, the height is 5, the shadow is 1.25. So I'm going to cross multiply. 1.25 times B is 1.25B. And 5 times 6 is 30. Now to get B by itself, you have to divide by 1.25. So if you take 30 and you divide it by 1.25, you will find out that the height of the building is 24 feet tall. It is 24 feet tall. And the last one says using the side splitter theorem. And the side splitter theorem just says that if you have any line inside a triangle that is parallel to one of the sides, so you can see the ones that are running left and right are parallel. That means it will break the sides proportionally. So I will set up my proportion, left side versus right side. So the top of the left side is x minus 2. The bottom of the left side is 5. So I set that up as if it is a proportion. And the right side, the top is 3 and the bottom is x. Cross multiply. X times x minus 2 is x squared minus 2x. And 5 times 3 is 15. Anytime you have x squared and x to the first in the equation at the exact same time, you need to factor. So let's get this set equal to 0. So x squared minus 2x, subtract 15 over here, equals 0. I had to subtract 15 on both sides. And I am going to be looking for two numbers that multiply to give me 15. So I'll list these out for you. Two numbers that multiply to give me 15 are 1 and 15. And that 15 is actually a minus. It's a negative 15. So 1 and 15, 3 and 5. So because that's a negative 15, you have to find a way to subtract these, so the answer is negative 2. And that would be 3 minus 5. So I'll put a positive 3 and a negative 5. Now in order to solve for x plus 3 equals 0, or x minus 5 equals 0. So x is either negative 3 or x is positive 5. Well, let's see if they make sense. Could x be -3? That would make the top of this triangle -5 units long. And you cannot have a distance of negative units. So I will throw that answer out. That one is not going to work. I'll check 5. This top segment would be 5 minus 2, which is 3. And the bottom segment would be 5. So that would be just 5. And then in this case, we can see that that's actually the mid segment as well. So that is a mid segment as well. So hopefully you are studying this and you're feeling good about it. And next video will be page 4.